Kalau bicara sejarah, sebelum Islam lahir, Allah itu merupakan nama diri dari satu di antara 360 dewanya orang Arab kuno zaman jahiliyah. Kita lihat bersama buktinya. Berdasarkan sejarah, tertulis di buku-buku berikut ini. Seperti agama-agama manusia, bidah-bidah di Indonesia, Islam in Light of History, Jerusalem Countdown dengan pembahasannya Who is Allah, The Unfinished Battle Islam and the Jews, bahkan buku teologianya Islam sendiri yang berjudul Passing Over Melintas Batas Agama, dan masih banyak lagi lainnya, menerangkan siapakah Allah itu sesungguhnya, asalnya dari mana, sebelum Islam lahir sudah diadopsi oleh Kristen Arab, lalu diadopsi lagi oleh Islam, dan di Indonesia diadopsi lagi oleh Kristen dan Katolik. Silakan videonya di-pause untuk dibaca terlebih dahulu buku-bukunya. Allah bukan merupakan panggilan di Indonesia. Kalau Allah itu panggilan, itu memiliki arti dan persepsi yang sama dari berbagai pandangan. Seperti kursi yang merupakan adopsi dari bahasa Arab al-kursi, memiliki makna dan persepsi yang sama, yaitu tempat untuk duduk. Baik Kristen, Islam, Hindu, Buddha, aliran kepercayaan memiliki makna dan persepsi yang sama. Namun untuk Allah, umat Hindu dan Buddha saja di Indonesia tidak pernah menggunakan Allah sebagai sebutan atau sinonim dari kata Tuhan sebagai panggilan. Antara Kristen dan Islam sendiri memiliki pandangan yang berbeda untuk masalah Allah ini. Itu membuktikan bahwa pemakaian nama Allah di kekristenan merupakan pemerkosaan nama dan bahasa yang tidak seharusnya untuk tetap dipertahankan. Dan lagi, jika Allah itu generic name, kenapa tidak diganti saja dengan generic name yang lain yang tidak bermasalah di Indonesia? Kenapa Allah harus tidak boleh hilang dari kekristenan? Kemudian dengarkan video berikut ini yang membuktikan bahwa Allah itu bukan generic name.
Allah in Arabic is not just the title for God. It doesn't mean God, which I'll explain. Allah is a name, and I will prove that using the Quran. There's a clear distinction between the two words ilah and Allah, which brings me to the Shahada, the testimony of faith. La ilaha illa Allah, which literally translates as there is no God or deity but Allah. The way ilah and Allah are spelled in Arabic do look similar, and they sound similar, but are not the same thing. They're not the same word or meaning. When you say la ilaha, ilah means God or gods, but Allah is a name, the name of Muhammad's God. So you're saying there's no God but that one, that precise name, la ilaha illa Allah. Among all the other gods, Allah is the one and the only one according to Islam, according to Muslims, Muhammad. It's like saying there's no friend but Bob, for example. You wouldn't be able to say there's no Bob but friend. Would it make sense for one to say there's no God but Jesus? Yes. But it wouldn't make sense to say there's no Jesus but God. So there's no God but Allah. It doesn't say there's no Allah but God. Muhammad was making a statement, wanting to also deny Christ as God, by making it clear that, look, there's no God but Allah. To further prove this point, I will use the Quran. In the Quran, in Surah 52:43, we read this. So in Surah 52:43, we read, or have they, this is Muhsin Khan's English translation, or have they an ilah, and he puts in parentheses, in brackets, a God other than Allah, glorified be Allah from all that they ascribe as partners to him. So here we see another clear distinction between ilahun and Allahi. And again, Muhsin Khan's English translation just closes the case. So for anyone who speaks the Arabic language, it's obvious that Allah is simply the name of Muhammad's God. When you go to Deuteronomy 18, a passage that Muslims love to claim is speaking of Muhammad, in Deuteronomy 18 we read, "But the prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or who speaks in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die." Muhammad spoke in the name of another God, Allah, which is not the name of God in the Bible. God in the Bible, his name is Yahweh. God specifically gave Moses his name in Exodus chapter 6. You see, anytime we read Lord in all caps, capital L-O-R-D, we read Yahweh in the original Hebrew. Yahweh, which is, again, the true and only name of God. In Exodus chapter 6, we read this. "And God spoke to Moses and said to him, I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty, but by my name, Lord, I was not known to them." So, but by my name, Yahweh, I was not known to them. The name Yahweh was so sacred that the Jews abbreviated it to the Tetragrammaton four-letter word WHYH, Yod-He-Wah-He. But to completely change the name of God to a different name like Allah, something Muhammad did, is completely blasphemous. But the confusion for some Arabic-speaking Christians happens with Arabic Bibles, which translate God or Lord as Allah, due to Allah, the word, culturally and even religiously becoming the translation word for God in Arabic, which is incorrect. A proper translation for God in Arabic, in the Arabic Bibles, would be Reb or Ilah, or better yet, just use God's name, Yahweh Elohim. So to conclude this point, whether the name Allah came from some pre-Islamic moon god from Mecca, or it's the Arabic equivalent of the Aramaic Ilah, regardless, it is not the personal name for the God of Israel. And more importantly, it does not even mean God.
Allah itu bukan sebutan atau dari Al-Ilah. Kenapa? Karena satu, Allah itu nama Tuhannya umat Islam. Contoh, ketika orang Islam di Arab sembahyang, mereka mengucapkan Allahu Akbar. Begitu juga dengan orang Islam yang ada di Amerika, mereka tetap mengucapkan Allahu Akbar, bukan God Akbar. Kedua, Allah itu bukan dari Al-Ilah dengan menghilangkan alif seperti yang dijelaskan para dosen Islamologi, sehingga tinggallah. Kalau begitu, maka artinya akan berubah, bukan Tuhan atau dewa lagi, tetapi li syakhsin atau baginya laki-laki. Ketiga, ilah itu sudah satu paket kosakata yang tidak bisa dipenggal karena dia kata benda bukan kata kerja. Keempat, ilah bisa dimasukkan alif lam karena ilah adalah gelar atau sebutan, sedangkan Allah tidak bisa karena dia adalah nama pribadi. Contoh, ustazun atau guru laki-laki bisa dimasukkan dengan alif lam sehingga menjadi al-ustazu. Tetapi Fatimah tidak bisa ditulis menjadi al-Fatimah karena Fatimah itu adalah nama pribadi. 5. Ilah atau al-ilah ada musannanya, yaitu ilahani, artinya dua Tuhan atau dua dewa. Sedangkan Allah tidak ada musannanya atau tasnianya. Kalau ada, artinya bukan Allah lagi, tetapi menjadi Allahani. Ini menggantikan nama sesembahannya umat Islam. Contoh, Fatimah, kalau dimusanakan menjadi Fatimah Tani, maka nama Fatimah itu akan berubah, bukan Fatimah lagi, tetapi adalah Tante Fatimah Tani. 6. Ilah atau al-ilah bisa diterjemahkan menjadi dewa atau sesuatu yang disembah. Sedangkan Allah tidak bisa diterjemahkan ke dalam bahasa apapun karena dia adalah nama pribadi. Anda bisa melihat dalam Kamus Indonesia, Arab, Inggris karangan Abdul bin Nuh dan Umar Bakri halaman 76. Ketujuh, Allah bukan dari alif lam ha. Karena kalau diuraikan secara ilmu sorof tidak pernah ditemukan baik fi'il madinya, mudhari'nya maupun masdarnya. Yang ada alif lam ha atau Allah. Tetapi kalau diuraikan secara wazan dalam ilmu sorof juga tidak bisa menjadi Allah. Contoh, Allah dengan wazan af'ala yuf'ilu if'alan. Jadi kalau kita uraikan secara nahwu sorof, Allah itu menjadi Allah yulihu illahan, dan itu bukan Allah, tapi itu adalah sebutan. Kenapa? Karena Allah adalah nama pribadi yang tidak bisa dikutak-katikkan.
Lihat juga pernyataan Christian Prince berikut ini.
But here we have more important question about what is the name of Isa. Here you see the Muslim they translate as Jesus. But the fact, the word Yeshua or Yeshua in Arabic and Yeshua in Hebrew, not mentioned once in the Quran. So this is a fabrication. Or let us say it's a fabricated translation. The same as some Christian who translated the Bible into Arabic and they used the word Allah in the translation. That is a fabrication too. So translation can be full of fabrication, the same as some who translated the Bible and used the word Allah, but in fact this is not Christianity, and Allah has nothing to do with Christianity. And after 1400 years of occupation, the Arab Christians forced to use the word Allah, and now it became part of their, let us say, the daily life talking. If you go to all Islamic countries where Christians are minority, you will see all of them, they use the word Allah. Why? Because simply they are under the control of Muslims. However, when the Muslims they notice that using the word Allah is not for their benefit, they will forbid you from using it, as what happened in Malaysia. In Malaysia, they made the court order that no Christian should use the word Allah in a church, because that is the name of the God of the Muslims. And I agree with the court actually. They should not use it, and any Christian who used the word Allah, he should refrain from using it, for this is a pagan word and have nothing to do with us. So I agree 100% with the court of Malaysia, which is saying Allah is a name of the God of Islam and have nothing to do with the Christians. Why the Muslims in that country, they were upset from Christian using that word? Because they noticed a lot of Muslims converting out of Islam. So they said to themselves, maybe the missionaries, because they are using the word Allah when they speak to the Muslims, make the Muslims easy transaction from the cult of Islam to Christianity. And as I say, it's wrong to use the word Allah, for this is a pagan name. It's not the word mean God. It's a name of a God which is a pagan God, exists before Islam. Yeah, that's what is wrong to use. There's many Bible translation, they are using the word Allah. That's absolutely false translation, and we should avoid saying the word Allah, praying to God. But you can say, I mean, there's so many, like especially in the Middle East, the generation, they learn nothing but saying the word Allah. But this is false name, false God. It's a big mistake Christians they do when they use it. But people, they are inheriting false inheriting, and the one to blame actually is the priest. Most of the priests are just doing business.